If you grew up in Australia during the 90s, then you probably saw bits of Agro's Cartoon Connection, a rapper show featuring a multi-bath mat puppet named Agro. What you may not know though is that Jamie Dunn, the man behind Agro, had a go at a completely different show, Spuds In Duds. I certainly didn't know about it until I received a comment from Ibis Channel 32. Anyway, Spuds In Duds was Jamie's attempt at his own show, and it was screened on community station Channel 31 in Brisbane. As you may have guessed, Spuds In Duds is meant to be a bit of a play on Bananas in Pyjamas, but it didn't get as well known as B1 and B2. It features one potato and two potato, two people in oversized potato costumes which also wear overalls, or duds, I guess. As an obscure community TV show, you won't find much out there about Spuds In Duds online. There's a little bit of copyright information, and if you dig around the internet archive, you'll find some screenshots from the show. There's also about 2 seconds of Spuds In Duds footage in a Channel 31 promo. And that's about all the information you can find on Spuds In Duds. At least, until now anyway. I contacted Jamie Dunn while I was making this video, and he got back to me with a lot more information about the show. Jamie told me that Spuds In Duds was made up of about 35-minute episodes, and though it was a kids show, it was also filled with a bunch of potato puns that he thought the adults might find appealing. He first wanted Spuds In Duds eps to be inserted into Agro's Cartoon Connection alongside other shows of the day, but when that didn't pan out, Jamie tried to sell the series elsewhere. There were some expressions of interest, but unfortunately, things fell through. In the end, Jamie gave the show to Channel 31 in Brisbane, but unfortunately the masters for Spuds In Duds were lost when the station shut down. Jamie did tell me that he could still have copies of Spuds In Duds somewhere in storage, but naturally it'll take a bit of looking to find them. Australia has a fine tradition of weird kids shows involving puppets. I've talked about Liftoff, Jandy Malone and the 9 O'Clock Tiger, and others before, but thanks to a comment by Imprinted Life on my Lost Media of Australia Iceberg, I've learnt about another Lost Kids show that also had puppets. Hunter was an ABC TV series that screened in 1984 and featured an inventor travelling around on a bicycle and hunting for things. Hunter loved to learn and was helped along the way by a mouse named Albert and Computer Cat, or CC, a cat puppet who was a bit of a know-it-all. Hunter was produced in Tasmania and ran for 24 episodes and was also shown in schools all around Australia. You could also watch repeats, but only a handful of clips from the show have found their way online today. And based on my search, I'm not even sure if the NFSA has any copies either. While there's not much footage of Hunter out there, the puppet used for Computer Cat still exists, and you can go see it for yourself. It's on display at the Tasmanian Museum and Art Gallery in Hobart. Robert Millsy Mills was a contestant on the very first season of Australian Idol in 2003, and he managed to finish in the top 5. Since then you might have spotted him in Wicked the Musical, Neighbours, and as the host of a bunch of different TV shows, including a Young Talent Time reboot. One of his hosting gigs that you've probably never heard of or forgotten about is 2005 Stooged, which commenter Just Some Bloke 460 highlighted for me. If you did sit down to watch Stooged though, you would have seen what was basically an Australian version of Ashton Kutcher's Punt, but without celebrities being pranked. Instead, there will be everyday people trying to convince their friends of outlandish lies and pranks, with Millsy as the host alongside Yvette Duncan. Before a single episode screened, forum goers were not optimistic about Stooged's chances of success and thought it wouldn't last very long. And they were right. Stooged was axed by Channel 10 after just 2 or 3 weeks, and it hasn't been seen since. With such a short run, it's no wonder it became a piece of lost media. If you try searching for Stooged today, you'll find a handful of articles about it and those forums which are just trashing it. There's also one petition from a very dedicated Millsy fan to bring it back. It only got 100 signatures and it's almost 20 years old, so clearly it didn't work. Other than these scraps of information, that's it for Stooged. There doesn't seem to be any episodes, clips, or even screenshots from the show anywhere. And since only a handful of episodes made it to air, it's unlikely that the full series of Stooged will ever be found. Shopping for love is just a weird idea. It's a 2005 reality TV dating show where 2 contestants go to the home of another contestant and rummage around their house to get a sense of what they're like. Once they've used up their 5 minutes of rummaging time, they go on a 20-minute shopping spree at Chadstone Shopping Centre to buy items they think their potential date will appreciate. Whoever buys items which will impress their potential lover the most will win a date with them. Just 20 episodes of Shopping for Love were made across 2 seasons, and today you can only see a few clips and some screenshots online. I honestly never would have known Shopping for Love existed if it weren't for a commenter though, so shout out to Judy Caulfield for mentioning it. To me, Shopping for Love kind of poses an interesting question, or it would if it was explored a bit more. Just how much can you learn about a person from the things they own? It seems like the show got buried in a graveyard slot though, so unless the production company releases episodes, I'm not sure if you'll ever see Shopping for Love ever again. I don't think I've ever heard of a piece of lost media with a famous person obscurity ratio like the Russell Crowe RTA video. You know Russell from Gladiator, Thor, and Fighting Around the World, but everyone's favourite New Zealand Australian actor was once a hustling actor, taking a lot of roles that probably didn't pay much. Some of Russell's early roles were in workplace instructional videos, such as this one about an injured worker returning to work, which you can watch easily enough thanks to the NFSA. But Russell also did another similar video for the Roads and Traffic Authority called From Stop to Slow, where he plays a lollipop man. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, a lollipop man or lollipop lady is an Australian term for a school crossing guard because they hold signs that resemble lollipops, I guess. You won't see a single screenshot of Russell in From Stop to Slow today though, but you can find small fragments of information online that show it actually existed, and even a bit of controversy around it. Russell talked about the RTA video in a 2008 ABC interview, and he wasn't pleased over being owed royalties for his work all of those years ago, and he even banned the video from being released. It seems like Russell's ban has been successful because you can't find that video anywhere today. The RTA did comment on Russell Crowe's video at the time of his interview, and I even got in touch with their old spokesperson mentioned in an article about it, but unfortunately they weren't able to tell me any more information. If you're someone who's ever done any work or training with the RTA, then let me know if you've ever seen Russell Crowe's video, or even if you have a copy. I'd love to know whether this still exists and exactly what Russell does in it. Even the original ABC interview where Russell talks about the video doesn't seem to be available anymore. So if you happen to know how to access it, then please get in touch. I'd love to know exactly what Russell said about his Lollipop Man experience. And that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you'd like to see more from me, then please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and you take care.